Welcome back to the news at 10. A medical doctor in Bayelsa State is still recuperating after being allegedly assaulted by officers of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps in Enugu, Bayelsa State. The NSCDC officers had allegedly accused Bekewari Ololo, a resident doctor at the Federal Medical Center Enugu, of almost running over a stray dog with his car. Dr. Ololo says he was riding with his wife and children when the officers allegedly opened fire on their vehicle at close range. The NSCDC commandant in Bayelsa, Mr. Desmond Agu, told our correspondent that the officers involved in the incident have been queried and will face disciplinary action. While narrating his ordeal, Dr. Ololo asked authorities to pay closer attention to the conduct of paramilitary officials bearing arms. Meanwhile, operatives of the Nigerian Navy are still trying to locate the whereabouts of 8 sailors recently abducted by gunmen in Bayelsa State. The sailors were reportedly abducted on the Atlantic Ocean close to territorial waters in Brass local government area. Our correspondent who identified the victims as employees of Tethys Nigeria Limited and Silver Global Limited says they were abducted on April 19, 2017, about 17 nautical miles off Brass Terminal. The pirates are set to forcibly board the vessel after firing several gunshots in the air to scare the sailors. The abductors were said to have robbed their victims of their valuables and then herded them onto speedboats before sailing to an unknown destination. Troops of the Forward Operation Base Formoso at Eguama in Brass are said to have launched a manhunt for the abductors in order to free the hostages. Securing borders across the Lake Chad Basin has been the focal point for security operatives and international agencies in recent times. Participants at a 3-day regional forum on border control and cooperation to combat terrorism and other crimes in the region agree that there is need to harmonize security strategies.
Nigeria, a country with land borders stretching over 4,000 kilometers with neighboring countries of Benin, Chad, Cameroon, Niger, and maritime space with Equatorial Guinea. Over time, there's been series of security challenges along these borders, ranging from armed banditry, smuggling, illicit drug trafficking, human trafficking, small arms and light weapons peddling. This gathering of top officials of international organizations, senior security operatives in Nigeria and other neighboring countries is aimed at strengthening cross-border capacities to combat crime and terrorism.
This is the very first time that we bring together border officials and law enforcement agencies from the neighboring countries of Nigeria to discuss these issues, specifically border control with regard to organized crime and terrorism. And based on that, hopefully we can develop a kind of a roadmap, what will be the next steps and what we have to address next.
Also speaking on the need to chart a new course at enhancing cooperation among border-sharing countries, participants highlight the importance of joint patrols across borders.
We are fully aware that the issue of border security has impacted negatively on our nation, especially with the issue of Boko Haram. It is believed that most of the illegal arms that come into the country are from our borders. So we are trying to see how we could synergize our effort with our friendly neighboring countries to enhance our border security.
This workshop is very important for us, Nigeria and Cameroon mainly, to share experience because we have a lot of framework in charge of fighting all these threats. Nigeria also they have their own framework, so we need to exchange experience, exchange information on different threats to harmonize our fighting against security problems.
As the session comes to a close, these representatives are hopeful that the consensus reached at this meeting will be implemented by each participating country to curb the spate of cross-border criminality across the Lake Chad Basin.
Chibok local government area of Borno State has become world famous following the abduction of over 200 girls from the government secondary school Chibok 3 years ago, with the school and community destroyed by the insurgents. A respite appears to have come to the community as the African Development Bank has donated $1 million to the rebuilding of infrastructure. The donation is in support of the rebuilding projects being carried out by the Presidential Committee on the Northeast Initiative in the community. Our community report tonight takes a look at how the latest relief project will be put to use.
Etisola, now you're talking.
The all too familiar sights and sounds of inconsolable women who have suffered heavy losses in Borno State. Their families have either been killed or gone missing. Their properties destroyed by the Boko Haram sect. What are they left with? Burnt out rubble of what used to be called home. Over time, relief materials have been delivered, but how sufficient are that being in the face of the numbers of the IDPs? That responsibility is now being shouldered by the Presidential Committee on the Northeast Initiative and the African Development Bank, who are pooling resources together to the tune of $1 million in support of the IDPs in the Chibok community.
Again, you have to be very careful in selecting.
This town hall meeting is to articulate how priority should be placed on projects. So which comes first?
The issue of the road. If there's any road that is disturbing the governor of Borno State, is the Chibok road. And some of you may not know what is going on. The judiciary system of government is something which is very complicated. But definitely, governor has even purchased more trucks to Chibok now on ground, because I just want to leak it to you that he don't want to make more noise on the issue of this Chibok road. A lot has been said, and he just wanted to see action. He has already purchased more than 30 trucks for Chibok alone.
For the chairman of the Chibok local government, the makeover of the school should be included in the project.
The rebuilding of the secondary school, which has been desolate for some time, it is being handled by the military engineers, which has been abandoned since, but now they promise that they are going to resume work on it under the Safe School initiative being confirmed by the Presidential Committee on Northeast Initiative.
Commending the efforts of the African Development Bank, the chairman of the Presidential Committee of the Rebuilding Initiative says the projects will cover all.
We felt it's necessary to engage with the community, with the state government, with the local government and traditional institution, in addition to the content from the African Development Bank and the federal government of Nigeria, and the resolve of this government to reconstruct the Chibok school. That is why we felt that an approach that would involve everybody in the reconstruction was necessary. That is why we had this engagement.
A lot of talk of action means a lot is to be expected. But what is important to the community is to go back to when playing was fun and free. Laughter rang in the air and peace reigned in the land.
Etisola, now you're talking.
Airline operators and business people are complaining of a massive drop in patronage as a result of low passenger traffic at the Kaduna International Airport. Their complaints are coming barely 2 weeks after reopening of the Abuja airport, which had been closed down for repairs, with Kaduna serving as an alternative for all Abuja-bound flights. Some of the traders say they've never witnessed high patronage over the years until the Abuja flight diversion to Kaduna.
Nearly 2 weeks ago, this is what the Kaduna airport looked like. Today, the difference is significant. Gone is the hustle and bustle in the airport. The number of passengers has dramatically reduced. The car parks are almost empty, and auxiliary businesses in the airport have nearly come to a stop. The reason is apparent. The Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, is back in operation after a 6-week break for the rehabilitation of its runway. In
In the period when the runway of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, was being rehabilitated, Abuja-bound local and international flights had to come to the Kaduna airport from several locations to pick up passengers. The Kaduna airport saw the kind of traffic it had not seen in years, if ever. But the massive drop in passengers at the Kaduna airport is bad news for those doing business at the airport, as they complain of massive drop in patronage. According to them, business activities can only pick up when more airlines fly into the airport with more passengers.
If passenger plenty, then we have people buy things. As you can see, one local I cook since morning, I did inside. No business.
The market is not moving. This market is not moving at all. Sometimes we can see customers, sometimes we cannot see customers. Like that, even today, you can see everywhere is very dry.
Although officials of the Federal Airport Authority in Nigeria declined speaking on the situation due to the absence of the general manager of the airport, it was gathered that only 2 or 3 airlines are still flying to Kaduna. While the federal government has spent huge resources to give the Kaduna airport a facelift, some Nigerians have appealed to the Kaduna state government to devise an action plan to attract more international and local airlines to the airport, as this would contribute to increasing internally generated revenue in the state.
To the southeast now, where the Anambra state government is seeking more business partnership with the Chinese government to help complement the massive business activities in the state. Governor Willie Obiano, who received the Chinese Deputy Consular General in Nigeria, Mr. Guang Zongqi, says his administration will ensure the state is conducive for both local and foreign investors who intend to invest there.
Because we have a high number of Anambra living in China, some already graduated from schools in China, are doing good business. There are some communities there. We also are planning of a way to bring them home through the Chinese assisting us with setting up some strategic industries here and there that will employ those our people that are in diaspora in that place. As you're aware, the airport that we are building at Umweri is being handled by Chinese people, and so this relationship will blossom. I believe sooner or later we'll begin to have Chinese colonies, if you will, here and there, and that will go a long way in cementing the very good relationship we have with them.
On behalf of our Consul General, Mr. Chao Xiaoliang, I would like to extend the warm regard to Your Excellency, Mr. Governor, and we hope you have time to visit our Consul General in Lagos. I have promised to the Governor, the Consul General in Lagos will do our best to help the peoples in Anambra to travel to China. If anything, just contact us.
Still ahead of the news at 10, Rafa Nadal continues impressive season on clay, clinches his 10th Barcelona Open on clay. We'll have more in sports news. Do join us again.